Testing. I always have to sit in front of the camera for a few minutes to just get myself situated because I still to this day cannot talk in front of the camera, and I've been doing this for 7 years. Hello to all of my queens. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am so glad that you're here. If you are new, that was my dog Banjo. If you're new to my channel, my name is Grace and I am a lifestyle blogger. I cover topics in self-improvement, wellness, and lifestyle, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about two things. Number one, I'm going to be covering the getting things done method, which is basically a productivity method that I have been utilizing for my own life that has been going really well. And then number two, I'm going to be talking about some of my favorite productivity apps, and I will try to put timestamps, so stick with me. If you like this kind of content, go ahead and click that subscribe button, and there's even a bell that you can click so that you can get notified every time that I post a video. The Getting Things Done system comes from a book, and I will link it down in the caption below for you. I feel like completing tasks comes to me pretty naturally, but I wanted to understand what techniques could be used to be more efficient with getting things done in my life. I've read it once, but I would 100% read it again because there were elements that I don't think I was quite ready to incorporate into my life just yet. I am testing it out. It's been going really well, but I'm going to be going through and reading it definitely another time because I feel like there was just so much information to be taken in from the book. I honestly think that the Getting Things Done system warrants just a completely new, dedicated YouTube video. I'm just gonna cover 4 main points that I learned. The very first concept that made a really big difference for me was the idea that you need to get everything out of your head. Our minds are meant to hold ideas, but they're not meant to hold absolutely everything that we need to accomplish in the day. This is why to-do lists and brain dumps are such an important part of your day. It allows you to clear your mind. It has been shown to be extremely effective when you write down everything that you need to get done for the day, and once you write down that information, you'll be able to move on to the next step. The second concept that I learned that just completely blew my mind was the difference between projects and tasks. One thing that was really fascinating for me to learn from the book was that to-do lists are really not that effective unless you have a system in place to implement steps for the projects that you need to get done. And there is a big difference between what a project is and then what a task is. A project is something that requires multiple steps to be completed, and then a task is something that can be done in just one shot. The third thing that I learned from the Getting Things Done system was just the utter importance of breaking down whatever you need to get done into smaller steps. Oftentimes we have a project or a big life goal that we want to accomplish, and it's huge. It seems almost impossible, and that's because we do not break down that project or goal into smaller, more manageable steps. And a big focus in the Getting Things Done system is moving on to the next step. Number 4, and the most important point of all, is that you simply cannot do it all. I feel like a lot of us, and especially if you're watching my channel and you're interested in this kind of topic, you probably put a lot more on yourself than you're capable of completing. And most people are overwhelmed with the number of tasks that they have to complete in the day because they don't know how to prioritize or delegate. And a lot of people will struggle with anxiety and guilt because they create a list of things that is not possible for them to finish during the day, and then you end up feeling guilty or disappointed in yourself because you haven't been able to finish everything that you wanted to for the day. It's an accumulation of taking on too much and more than you can handle. The book was really incredible, and if you're looking for techniques and specific systems to put into place for getting things done, I would highly recommend reading it. It gets pretty technical and kind of boring at some points, but it's worth a read, and it's on Audible as well, so you can listen to it while you're on a walk or doing chores. Okay, now let's move on to my favorite productivity apps. As you guys know, if you follow me on social media, I'm most active on Instagram and TikTok, but I am very much a tech nerd. I love apps. I'm not really a pen and paper gal, but I am very much so a digital gal. So I am going to walk you through all of the apps that I use on an almost daily basis, why I chose them compared to other apps that are on the market, and then how I have my apps organized. And so if you like this kind of thing, stick with me. For number 1, my favorite productivity app is definitely Notion. If you are into productivity apps, you probably already know about Notion. It's like a digital notebook. I use it to store all of my notes. It houses everything from my daily journal, my travel itineraries, certain memories that I want to keep, my reading list. I also created my YouTube script for this video off of Notion. Notion really helps me to keep really organized and provides a lot of flexibility as well as just really cool things. You can create databases in it, you can link between the pages. So Notion is definitely one of my favorite apps that I use every single day. One of my favorite things about Notion is that you can create templates. For example, whenever I'm about to go on a trip, I have a template for planning the trip and also have a template for my packing list. So all I have to do is open up that template and then fill in everything else that pertains to the trip, and it just makes things so efficient. There's always a list there for me to use. The templates portion of Notion is probably one of my most favorite things about the app. I also wake up every morning and do a journaling session, and that is housed within my Notion, and I have a template for that as well. I actually have a free template that I have shared that you can access in the link in my caption, and it's completely free, but it's what I use. I actually change this around based on what kind of season that I'm in. So yeah, those are two examples, but I have a bunch of templates that are housed around things that I need to get done in my life that are really useful. I love being able to use Notion to do those things. I will admit it was a bit difficult to set up my Notion page at first, and there was a bit of a learning curve, but once you learn the basics of how to use Notion and then start to get a little bit more advanced with Notion as well, it will really blow your mind, and you might get to a point where you just cannot, you have to be in it every day. As I learn more about Notion and as I continue to use it, I am always amazed at how powerful and how flexible it is, and most of all, the best part is that it's completely free. So you should definitely try out Notion, especially if you're a digital gal. In terms of why I chose Notion, to be completely honest, I'm not really familiar with any other platforms that are like Notion and have the capabilities that Notion does. One that came to mind was Evernote, which I think is kind of like a note app that's better suited for Microsoft users, but I don't think it offers the same database as Notion does, so I really don't think that there are any competitors out there, but if there are, please let me know because I'm always down for trying new things. And finally, I'm going to show you guys how my Notion is organized. I have a home page for my Notion, and it houses all of the things that I like to reference on a daily basis, and I also have all of my personal goals listed and categories on the side. This is where I like to keep track of things like traveling and party planning and goal planning, etc. My second productivity app is Todoist, and I will include a link for that app as well in my caption below. I use the pro version of Todoist, and this is where I house all of my recurring tasks that I need to get done during the day, and any tasks that I can get done within the span of 2 minutes. This is actually something that I learned from the Getting Things Done system. It's really helpful to have a database where you house all of your tasks that can be done in 1 or 2 touches, and then another database to house all of your projects. Todoist is where I house all of my easy, feel-good tasks that can be done pretty quickly. For example, these tasks would be replying to a text message or replying to an email, getting the laundry done, folding the laundry, anything that recurs often. I also have my monthly routine in there, weekly routine in there. I have things like counting my macros on a daily basis. I tend to meal plan every Friday after work, so that is on my Todoist. And why did I choose Todoist? There are actually a lot of to-do list apps out there. I have not tried all of them, but I basically was looking for an app that allowed me flexibility. So I wanted the option to be able to set recurring tasks. I also wanted to be able to set a time for when a task was due. I wanted it to have the capability to integrate with my Google Calendar, which Todoist does. Every Todoist task that I make pops up on my Google Calendar on a dedicated Todoist calendar category. So that is really great for me and helps me to keep organized. And so whenever I want to see my tasks for the day, I just click on that calendar, and if I don't want to see that, I can click out of that calendar anytime. I look at my Google Calendar on a daily basis. I also check it multiple times throughout the day, so it's just really helpful for me to have a to-do list app that syncs and will show the tasks I need to get done when I schedule them. In terms of how my Todoist is organized, I already kind of covered that. I follow the Getting Things Done system, and I use Todoist to house all of the tasks that I can can get done in like 5 to 10 minutes, one touch, or recurring. Third productivity app is Focus To Do. And once again, if you follow me on social media, you understand and know that I am pretty much obsessed with the Pomodoro method. It really helps me get a lot done during my workday, and it helps me to get my projects done as well. Focus To Do is an app that is perfect for housing your projects. It allows you to create several projects and all of the tasks that need to be done underneath those projects. You can have projects in your personal life, your work, and your side hustle life. I actually am able to use Focus To Do to house all of the projects that are pertaining to my life. If you get the premium version, you get an unlimited number of projects. You also get further capabilities like the ability to set recurring tasks, which is really helpful. Focus To Do is basically where I keep all of my projects or anything that has more than 2 tasks that needs to be done for it in order for it to be completed. So for example, but if you need to return a package, number 1, you would have to put the item back into a box. Number 2, you would need to put a label on it. Number 3, you would need to take a trip to the post office and put it into the return mailing box. Those are 3 steps that are needed to be completed for that to be done. So that is something that I would consider a project. Focus To Do really helps me to keep track of all of the projects that I have in the various areas of my life. It has been an essential part of allowing me to keep my life organized. It has really helped me to manage my time and prioritize the things that I need to so that I can live the life of balance that I also want. In terms of why I chose Focus To Do, I basically was looking for 3 main things, and Focus To Do met all of the criteria, and that was number 1, I wanted the ability to be able to create projects that also would house all of the tasks needed under them. Number 2, I wanted the ability to use the Pomodoro method, and this app allows you to create tasks and then also estimate the number of Pomodoro methods that you would need, so that when you're creating your task, for example, if I have to fold the laundry, I can estimate that I would need at least 1 Pomodoro session to do that. So I can create that task and then put 1 Pomodoro session, and when I start that task, the timer will start, which I think is just really cool and helps me to keep focused during the day. And then number 3, I wanted the ability to be able to set recurring tasks and have further features like that. So Focus To Do has allowed me to have that flexibility, which I really like. I have the premium version, which I believe I purchased for like $12 because I wanted the ability to have like an unlimited number of tasks, and I also wanted to be able to set recurring tasks. In terms of how my Focus To Do is organized, I'll give you guys an example of what a project looks like and what my Focus To Do homepage looks like, but I try to keep the projects on this page as minimal as I can if possible. I'm going to show you guys an example of the project that I created in Focus To Do for creating a YouTube video. So I basically break it down into several steps, and I have estimates of how many Pomodoro sessions each step will take. I will admit I would much rather have my Todoist and my Focus To Do housed into one app so that I don't have to bounce back and forth between Todoist and Focus To Do to get the different tasks and then projects completed in my life. But for now, this system has worked, but I feel like I'm going to be finding something a little bit different in the months to come. But I am a very picky person. I know exactly what I want for the things that I want to get done in my life. For now, Todoist works for the little tasks that I need to get done, and then Focus To Do works for the bigger projects that I have going on in my life. My 4th app is called ClickUp. This is a productivity app that I use to house all of my content ideas, all of my social media. So anything that I'm trying to get completed for Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube is all on there. And in terms of why I chose it, ClickUp also has a lot of flexibility. You probably are able to see a pattern by now that I really like having flexibility with my productivity apps. I have a very specific way that I have my systems organized, and I need the productivity apps to be able to work with the systems that I have created in my mind. ClickUp has a lot of different ways of functioning that I completely love. When I first found out about the app and I was clicking around and discovering it, my mind was just boggled at the number of possibilities. There are a lot of different viewpoints for your tasks that you can use within ClickUp, and I think it's amazing because different people function in different ways, and there's not one set way to create a task list and to implement and organize a system for it. I love that ClickUp has all of these different databases that you can use. For example, you can have just a straight list of tasks, a calendar view, a mind map, a database that uses the Gantt method, which is something that I'm not very familiar with, but I'm sure it's a productivity method that works really well. Basically has a database for every person out there. How I have my ClickUp organized right now is not where I want it to be completely honest, but here is what it looks like. And like I said, right now I just use it to house all of my ideas for my social media. I am still learning the functionality of ClickUp and learning how to use it, so the organization is not where I want it to be, but for now the flexibility and the number of different databases that you could use within it and the fact that it is free was what really drew me to it. Like their social media manager, whoever is in charge of ClickUp, they freaking crack me up, seriously. Okay, and last but not least, one of my favorite productivity apps is Google Calendar. And what I use it for, I use it to organize all of my routines and to schedule in any major events that I have. So like any get-togethers or social events or club meetings or vacations. And I chose Google Calendar because I think that it's the most accessible calendar that there is out there. I don't like the calendar that is on my iPhone. I like that I can view my calendar on my computer, my phone, on another computer if I want to, just by logging into my Google account. It's also really easy to share with another person, so I love to share my calendar with my husband, and I have his calendar on mine as well. There's a lot of flexibility with it, and a lot of the productivity apps that I use also integrate and sync directly with Google Calendar, so that accessibility is really important to me. In terms of how I have it organized, I do have different categories of calendars that I created so that I could view my calendar in the way that I wanted to. For example, I do have a Todoist calendar on there, and if I want to see all the tasks that I need to get done that day, I will open up that calendar. But if I don't want to see my tasks for the day and I just want to see what I need to get done to be in rhythm with my routine, then I will just open up my routine calendar. I also have a calendar specifically for events that Joe and I will be doing together. I also have routine events that I have scheduled into my day every single day. So I have my morning routine scheduled in there, my morning call sessions for my day job, my weekly routine, as well as anything else that I do on a repetitive basis. So yeah guys, that is all that I have for you today. I hope that really helped, and if you haven't used any of those productivity apps, hopefully it gave you an idea of what kind of apps you can start to implement into your own system and your own task routine. Let me know in the comments down below if you enjoyed the video and if you are familiar with any of these apps, and make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you at my next video.